Part 56. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 571. There are only a few things that couples can do together, especially at home. For example, we can hug each other, watch movies or TV series together, surf the internet together, play games if we have the same hobbies, kiss from time to time, and have fun together. If two young lovers stay in bed, let alone a kiss, even if their eyes meet once, there will be sparks from friction. When making lunch, Yuki Ichinose was also very active in helping. To be more precise, it was not to help, but to let Kurosawa Hikaru teach her how to cook, hoping to learn some good cooking skills. After struggling until 5:30 p.m., the two of them ran to the kitchen again. There are only 2 hours left before the concert starts, so dinner must be sorted out first. Ichinose Yuki is chopping vegetables. She occasionally helps with housework at home. When her parents are busy with work and have no time, she can also make simple dishes to satisfy her needs. Her knife skills are not neat, but she is relatively skilled. Brother Guang, when will your school start? While handling the ingredients, Ichinose Yuki did not forget to ask. After dinner, they were almost ready to go out. Next Monday, slow down. Kurosawa Hikaru watched her actions from the side, feeling very worried. This girl cuts vegetables so fast. If she cuts her hands, he will feel heartbroken. Your vacation is so long, I wish my vacation were as long. Ichinose Yuki was not worried about this and muttered. Brother Guang is already busy, and when school starts, he will have no time to spend with her. When school starts, I will have time to spend with you. Kurosawa Hikaru saw her thoughts and took the opportunity to hug her from behind, trying to get the kitchen knife. The frequency and time spent with Xiao Yuki during this period is a bit less, but it doesn't matter, I can make up for it later. Brother Guang, please don't interfere with my cutting of vegetables. However, before he could take it, Yuki Ichinose held down the vegetable's left hand and gently slapped his hand away. All right. Kurosawa realized that she had seen through his intentions and had no choice but to give up. Well. Stopping his help, Ichinose Yuki sighed. Brother Guang was worried that she would cut her hands while chopping vegetables, so she was not the same. While making lunch, she was really shocked when she saw how fast Brother Guang was chopping vegetables. You know, Brother Guang's hands are so beautiful. He can play the piano, shoot arrows, put on makeup, and take photos. If he accidentally gets injured by a kitchen knife with such powerful hands, she will feel distressed for the rest of her life. That's why she volunteered to let Brother Guang teach her how to cook. Anyway, she just had an idea, just leave cooking to her. In fact, this is what most neon women think too. In neon, there are only a handful of men who can cook. Even if they can, neon men rarely go to the kitchen. Because they think it's a shame to go into the kitchen, that's what housewives should do. Having said that, neon women don't care about this, but are used to it. Please note that in neon, housewife is an occupation that can be written on the Graduate Employment Intention Survey report. Why does my little baby sigh? Kurosawa Hikari asked after seeing her sigh and gently hug her slender waist. Brother Guang, will I be annoying? Ichinose Yuki sighed, turned around and asked. Why do you say that? My little Yuki is so considerate and sensible. If even you can make people annoying, there will be no woman in the world who is not annoying. Kurosawa Hikaru couldn't see through her thoughts at this moment either. But I'm so clingy. Ichinose Yuki bit her lip, blaming herself a little. Although she didn't know how other girls were getting along with Brother Guang, she knew her own thoughts. If she could even give up her career, as long as she could be with Brother Guang every day. For example, in the past few days, she knew that Brother Guang was busy, but she still unilaterally expected Brother Guang to chat with her. If he didn't chat with her, she still felt sad and annoyed. She often thinks about how great it would be if she could be like she was before. Brother Guang would video chat with her every day. Even if it was already 11 p.m. when he got home from work, he would chat with her until 12 p.m. and see her often. You like to cling to me, and I can't even be happy about it. How can I find it annoying? Kurosawa Hikaru noticed that she seemed troubled and quickly coaxed her. Really? Ichi-no's Yuki was a little happy, but instead of listening, he questioned. Really, clinginess is an expression of love and affection. Kurosawa nodded and affirmed. If your girlfriend doesn't cling to you, it may not mean that she doesn't love you, but if your girlfriend likes to cling to you, it must mean that she loves you. Then what if I want to stick to you every day? What if I want to see you every day? Yuki Ichi-no's asked again. Well. Faced with this problem, Kurosawa Hikaru suddenly choked up. If that were the case, things would be in trouble. You know, he not only has one girlfriend, but also spends time with other girlfriends. You see, it would be really annoying if I did that. Ichi-no's Yuki saw that he really felt embarrassed and a little depressed. She really wanted to spend more time with Brother Guang, meet more, even if it was just chatting more through the phone. But reality didn't allow it. Brother Guang was too busy, making her very lonely. Don't sigh, I will stay with you more in the future. Seeing her dejected and a little lonely, Kurosawa felt distressed and tried to find a way to comfort her. Xiao Yuki wanted to see him so much and wanted to stick to him, but she only wanted to think about it. This was a very considerate and sensible sign. Hearing you say that makes me very happy. Yuki Ichi-no's noticed his distress and pity. Although she was a little unhappy, she still forced herself to cheer up and smiled. However, in Kurosawa's eyes, her acting skills are unparalleled. Seeing her forced smile, Kurosawa Hikaru fell into deep thought. Let's continue making dinner, since it's for two people, it's actually very simple. Of course, this is the result of Kurosawa Hikaru not wanting to complicate things. After all, the more complicated the cooking, the more complicated it is to handle the ingredients and the easier it is to make mistakes. I'm gonna start now. When he came to the dining table and sat down, Yuki Ichi-no's happily put his hands together and bowed. After all, she had experienced school bullying, depression and loss, and this would have been suppressed. Instead of worrying about this kind of thing, it is better to enjoy the time with Brother Guang. Xiao Yuki, there is actually a way for us to spend more time together. Kurosawa Hikaru thought for a long time and said. What? Yuki Ichi-no's, who was holding chopsticks, immediately became interested when he heard this. She couldn't think of a way to see more of Brother Guang. No matter which method is used, as long as action is taken, it is likely to cause trouble to Brother Guang. But if Brother Guang is interested, there is still a chance that this matter will turn around. I have 5 girlfriends. In order to take care of everyone, I have to take turns spending time with you, right? Ichi-no's Yuki nodded. She knew this and didn't dare to be clingy. Because if she is too clingy, it will break the balance. Once the balance is broken, if there is no fairness, it will be about who is favored more. She had little confidence in this matter. Especially in the future of Sci-fi Jiyuan, this woman is too scary, and it is too difficult to compete with her for favor. There is also Miss Ninomiya, who is actually deeply loved by Brother Guang. Actually, I spend more time with Chizuru-san and Runa-san, because they are good best friends and are currently living together. When I spend time with Chizuru-san, I am also spending time with Runa-san, and vice versa. Kurosawa Guang pondered for a few seconds and confessed something to her. When Ichi-no's Yuki's pretty smart little head heard this, an idea flashed and he suddenly captured something. When everyone speaks, they usually include attitude, purpose, and true thoughts. With this example, she could roughly understand the meaning. Because Miss Ninomiya and Miss Igarashi have a very good relationship, Hikaru's time with them is like having 2 hours of time overlap together. Without breaking the fairness, she wanted to have more time to meet with brother Guang. The best way was to refer to the cases of Ninomiya and Igarashi and find someone to form an alliance and live together with. There are advantages and disadvantages to doing so. When the time of 2 people is added up, the interval between turns becomes shorter and the time together becomes longer. However, if this is the case, it will not be a world of 2 people living alone, but 3 people together. In addition, when 3 people date together, they will also face many problems. As her thoughts swirled, she subconsciously turned her head and looked up at brother Guang, her eyes sharp. Forget it. Kurosawa Hikaru saw her sharp eyes and immediately backed down. Asking himself, he was a little lucky just now, because Sister Kinzuru and Sister Runa can do this, and Xiao Yuki and Baiyu may not be able to do this. So far, it has been made clear that people who do not accept being with other people will only have a future. If Xiao Yuki and Baiyu have a good relationship, let alone the blessing of Chi Ren, they can have a companion while waiting for their turn. Neon people's families are very independent. After getting married, they usually do not live with their parents, but the couple live alone outside. In the long run, there will definitely be no shortage of times when he is not at home. In this case, if Xiao Yuki and Baiyu become good friends, they will be able to have multiple companions in the future, so that they will not be lonely alone. I have to think about it. Ichino's Yuki fell into deep thought and couldn't make up her mind. Think slowly, don't be in a hurry. Seeing that she wasn't angry, Kurosawa Hikaru was already in high spirits. It was a great honor that she was willing to consider it. Let's eat first, you have to perform tonight. Ichino's Yuki nodded slightly and reminded him when he saw that he hadn't picked up the chopsticks yet. Good. When Kurosawa Hikaru saw that she was indifferent to emotions and anger, his heart was pounding, and he obediently picked up his chopsticks to eat. For some reason, he always felt that Yuki Ichino's at this moment looked like a well-educated, mature and calm woman, rather than a simple, silly, youthful, and ignorant little Yuki. After eating like this for a while, Kurosawa Hikaru suddenly felt Koyuki bumping him lightly with his leg under the table. Noticing this movement, Kurosawa Hikaru looked up and found that Koyuki was holding chopsticks in his hand, tapping on his thin lips, looking sideways at him. Their eyes met, Ichino's Yuki's cherry lips were slightly parted, and in those beautiful blue eyes, sparkling light flowed. Brother Hikaru, do you hope that Miki and I can become good friends like Miss Ninomiya and Miss Igarashi? Faced with this question, Kurosawa Hikaru didn't know whether he should answer or not. To be fair, it was impossible to say that he had no idea at all. But this question was too deadly, and he didn't know whether he should admit it or not. Brother Hikaru, tell me you said you wouldn't lie to me again. Ichino's Yuki saw that he was speechless, and gently bumped him with her legs under the table, and said coquettishly. Ahem, I have a little idea. It was wrong anyway, so Kurosawa Hikaru simply went ahead with it, but he still took remedial measures, such as using his thumb and index finger to make a small gap to show how small it was. Okay, then I'll go and build a good relationship with player Miki. Ichino's Yuki saw that he was willing to confess to her, and her beautiful eyes curved and smiled. She just thought about it, and for the long run, she thought this was feasible. If she did nothing, she would have to see brother Hikaru once every 5 days, this was still the most ideal situation. If brother Hikaru was entangled in something, it might take longer to see him. But if she did it, she would only need to wait 3 days for her to see Guang once, and the time they spent together would double to 2 days. In addition, if her relationship with Miki could be like that between Ms. Ninomiya and Ms. Igarashi, it would be more beneficial than harmful. Once the bottom line is broken, it will only get lower and lower. Really? Kurosawa Hikaru observed her expression, feeling uncertain, and did not dare to show too much joy, fearing that she would change her face like Sichuan opera. Really? Ichi-no-Yuki nodded slightly and affirmed. Today's incident just alerted her, and she must take action and cannot sit and wait for death. For the sake of fairness, 5 people have to take turns for so long. If there is a 6th, 7th, and 8th person, it will be even more terrible. Because she has to actively interfere with Guang's emotional state, she is willing to give in and satisfy Guang's little idea. She and Mickey have a good relationship, and the probability of becoming good friends is still very high. Moreover, she had a very good impression of the player Mickey, who was so beautiful. If they were not rivals in love, but had met in other ways, she would have tried to make friends with him long ago. As we all know, it is not only men who like beautiful girls, girls also like beautiful girls. You are not saying this, but you are actually very sad, right? We agreed before that if you have any grievances, don't hold them back, tell me, and don't cry alone. Kurosawa Hikari always felt that this kind of pie in the sky was strange. There was no price, and Xiao Yuki agreed just like that. Brother Guang, I didn't hide my grievances, but you also have to remember what you said before, you won't find a 6th person. Ichi-no-Yuki found that he didn't believe it, and obviously thought that this matter was too smooth, which was a little funny, and put forward her own request. Of course. Kurosawa Hikari realized that her purpose was this, and agreed without hesitation. Seeing that she was so considerate and had such a good girlfriend, Kurosawa Hikari was moved and guilty, and he doted on her, hugged her and kissed her. Brother Guang, Ms. Igarashi said that I might have to go on stage tonight. Can you help me put on makeup? After dinner, they cleaned up the dishes, and Yuki Ichino suddenly remembered something. If she guessed correctly, Chizuru Ninomiya and Mirai Shifunjayuan would definitely go to the show tonight, as well as Shiraha Miki. Without comparison, there is no beauty or ugliness, she didn't prepare anything last time, and she can't make the same mistake again this time. No problem. Kurosawa Guang naturally met her small request. After putting on makeup, it was already 6:27 p.m. There was only 1 hour left before the show started, so they set off quickly. However, they did not go to Tokyo Bunkakaikan together, but acted separately. Kurosawa Guang was going to appear as 0 Hour. Although Yuki Ichino's was a blonde bride and was also related to 0 Hour, they could not appear together. If they appeared together, it would be like telling everyone that their relationship was not simple, and that would be a collapse of the house. Tokyo's Most Affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 572. Tokyo Bunkakaikan. As night falls, the venue is extremely lively inside and outside. Perhaps there are still many fans who cannot buy tickets, but this does not affect people's gathering at all. Here, even if they cannot enter the hall to watch the scene, they may see Master Zero Time and Adilina, as well as the latest rising star, Blonde Bride. For passers-by, whether they can see the real person or not is not very meaningful. For fans, seeing the idol in person is of great significance. And today's performance is also mixed with a storm of public opinion. Even if the official said that Blonde Bride's boyfriend is someone else, who is her photographer? But this photographer is too mysterious, no one knows who her boyfriend is, which has to arouse suspicion. In the case of intentional people leading the rhythm and smearing attacks, many people suspect that Zero Time is in power and changes his heart. Because many men abandon their wives after they succeed in their careers and make a lot of money, and turn to young and beautiful girls. There are not many news and cases. Faced with such arguments and smears, many people are speechless. You call Adirina a wife who has lived with poverty. Having said that, most people are herd mentality, they have no opinion, and they will be led astray by others. Not everyone has the ability to distinguish right from wrong. After all, There are many people who believe this speculation and suspect that Lingxi and Adirana are not in harmony and have some conflicts. If Adirana did not show up in the second performance, this matter would be confirmed. Faced with such doubts and rhythm, Ninomiya Chizuru appeared and came to the scene. She did not attend in a fancy dress, but only light makeup, but her appearance and figure were too amazing. With her appearance, the scene directly set off waves of voices, and even broke the doubts. Among the crowd, Shion and his group also came. Although Ichino's Yuki and Kurosawa Hikaru did not give them tickets this time, they all knew clearly, could understand, and did not dare to force it. Because this time, even the price of ordinary tickets was hyped up to 200,000 yen. To let all 6 of them go in to watch the show was like giving them tickets worth 1,000,000 yen. Even though friendship is priceless, this price was still too high for a few high school students. Miss Adeline. Seeing Adeline's appearance, Akazuki Aoi was very excited and screamed with the crowd. Perhaps the world didn't know who the boyfriend of the blonde bride was, and she suspected that it was Master Zero Time, but they knew that this was impossible. Because they all knew that Yuki Ichino's boyfriend was Kurosawa Hikaru, and they had a very good relationship. And Yuki used the official Twitter account of Zero Time Agency to clarify that the photographer she was referring to was also Kurosawa Hikaru. They had seen how good Kurosawa Hikaru's photography skills were. Just as Master Zero Time and Miss Adeline were a perfect match, in their opinion, Kurosawa Hikaru and Yuki Ichino's were also a perfect match. Today, Yuki is a nationally renowned superstar, and although Kurosawa Hikaru is not a nationally renowned public figure, he is also an extremely outstanding man. He is handsome, good-natured, versatile, a top student at the University of Tokyo, and a master of archery. He also has a good family background. The price of his car is over 100 million. He is simply a super good man who can't be found even with a light. I wonder if Yuki will appear like this. Watching Adelina gradually walk away, Matsushita Hitomi was more concerned about her friend. Because Ichino's Yuki is their friend, and now she has become a nationally famous superstar, which has brought her an unparalleled sense of vanity and pride. We should ask her. Speaking of this, Shion was not sure. I asked, but she didn't reply to the message. I guess she is busy. Akazuki Aoi's personality is that she likes to take care of people and be the boss. As the big sister of the hot girl group, she has always been responsible for various contact matters. Maybe she is wearing makeup. Although Yuki is also beautiful without makeup, her appearance is very suitable for heavy makeup. The more gorgeous, the better, just like in the MV. When Matsushita Hitomi learned this, she quickly thought of a possibility. In fact, Yuki's face value and appearance can be described as a super beautiful girl. She will be the most beautiful girl when she participates in the National Beauty Girl Contest. But if Yuki Ichino's wants to fully show her beauty, she needs to wear heavy makeup, unlike Adeline, who is full of poetry and books and can show her unparalleled charm with light makeup. Do you think Kurosawa will accompany Ichino's? At this time, Hinata couldn't help but ask. He and Akazuki Aoi have seen Kurosawa with other women. Although Ichino's clarified that Kurosawa has a sister, such a statement did not make him completely believe it. As a man, he is very clear about men's little thoughts. In addition, Kurosawa recently participated in a figure skating competition with Miki. The video of the double skating competition was very exciting, but the eyes of the two people seemed to be about to be drawn. He suspected that Kurosawa was cheating on several people, while Ichino's was more innocent and loved Kurosawa too much, so he blindly trusted him. Kurosawa might be watching nearby, so it's impossible for them to appear together. If they do, wouldn't it be a waste of effort for Ichino's to just say he was a photographer and not fully disclose his identity? Yamamoto Daiki analyzed with his arms folded without any doubt. He had communicated with Kurosawa, especially after seeing the performance in that game. His admiration for Kurosawa was endless. He had learned figure skating, so he could see how terrifying Kurosawa's figure skating level was, and he also fully appreciated Kurosawa's charm. This man was too handsome, perfect. The most important thing was that he would never believe that his childhood goddess, Miki, was still with Kurosawa, even though he knew that Kurosawa had a girlfriend. As Adelina walked away and entered the Tokyo Bunkakaikan in advance, the restlessness at the scene was calmed down a lot. But in fact, it was impossible to calm down, because there were too many onlookers, and after seeing Adelina, people couldn't help but discuss. Most people's words were praises such as too beautiful and so beautiful, and they were deeply fascinated. Some people used this as evidence to refute the possibility that Master Zero Time had changed his mind. Not long after, the crowd became restless again. This was the arrival of a luxury car, which caused an uproar. Those who came to the scene last time recognized it at a glance. The mysterious and super beautiful lady with a maid came again. However, her appearance was not as sensational as Adelina's. Even if she was very beautiful, no less than Adelina, but her identity was very mysterious, as if she was shrouded in fog, and people didn't even know how to call her. The appearance of Shifunjayuan Mirai caused some reactions, but it didn't make the whole audience boil. In the crowd, Miki Bayu had already arrived. So beautiful, many times more beautiful than the live broadcast. Nishikawa Miki, who was with her, couldn't help but sigh when she saw Shifunjayuan Mirai's figure. With beautiful facial features, transcendent temperament, long arms and legs, graceful figure, and wealth, this woman can be said to be unreasonable. She didn't come to the first performance because she went on a trip with her boyfriend. Although she didn't have a ticket this time, she decided to accompany Bayu to protect Bayu after learning that Bayu had grabbed a ticket. After all, she was out of town and could only watch the live broadcast, but she saw how lively Ueno Park was before the performance began, and it was crowded with people. Yeah. Miki Bayu nodded slightly, agreeing with this statement. Although Shifunjayuan Mirai, who followed the maid to the hall, was always looking forward, her steps were light and elegant, she was always paying attention to her surroundings. At the same time, she noticed a figure that stood out from the crowd, and subconsciously looked over. The next moment, the light blue beautiful eyes and the deep red beautiful eyes looked at each other across the air. Shifunjayuan Mirai saw her face, recognized her identity, smiled at her, and then continued to walk forward. Is she also one of the senior's girlfriends? This smile made Miki Bayu feel amazed, and the alarm bell in his heart rang loudly, and he felt extremely guilty. In fact, she still didn't know who the senior's girlfriends were. She only knew Misochino's and teacher Ninomiya, and two others whose identities were unknown. But now it seems that others know her. This super young lady is so beautiful. I don't know how many people will be fascinated by her. As a student of the University of Tokyo, Nishikawa Miki is very mature and rational, not narcissistic. Although Shifunjayuan Mirai is smiling at this side, she doesn't think she is smiling at them. She just thinks she is smiling politely to the crowd and can't help but sigh. Who is the other person? Miki Shiraha knew that she was smiling at her, and suddenly she began to feel curious about the identities of Senior Kurosawa's other girlfriends. At this moment, a violent uproar sounded from a distance. The violent uproar was like waves, brewing and rushing towards us. The closer people are to the hall, the less clear they are about what happened. But as the sound waves spread layer by layer, even if they haven't seen the person, they have heard the sound. It's the blonde bride. Alas! I don't know who dares to say that the blonde bride is so beautiful because of beauty filters. I've said it before, the photos in the first round of voting for the National Beauty Girl contest are all without makeup and without retouching. Don't believe it, a bunch of idiots. The blonde bride is so beautiful tonight, not inferior to Miss Adeline. Why is she alone? Didn't her boyfriend, the photographer, come? Blonde bride, I love you. Blonde bride, you are so beautiful. The screams, uproars, and shouts of the people spread. Yuki. In the crowd, Shion-ai saw Yuki Ichino surrounded by security personnel, walking step by step on the avenue, and was immediately driven crazy by her beauty. God knows how proud she was to see her best friend, the focus of the whole audience, and as a superstar, appearing like this. Yuki's makeup is too amazing. Akazuki Aoi was also amazed. Kurosawa really has a good eye for talent, to find such a beautiful girlfriend. Sato exclaimed when he saw this scene. He felt like he was watching an ugly duckling transform into a white swan. Although he had known that Ichino's was beautiful, in his impression, Ichino's Yuki was just that, compared to Adeline and that super young lady, she was far inferior. But now, after putting on heavy makeup, Ichino's Yuki has gained an aura, and her charm and appearance are not inferior to anyone else. At the back end of the crowd, Miki Baiha listened to the uproar, waited for a long time, and finally saw Yuki Ichino's. Miss Ichino's is shining. Miki Baiha just glanced at it, and his eyes were directly attracted like iron meeting a magnet. Her blonde hair is curly, her skin is like cream, her facial features are exquisite, her eyeshadow is as bright as her eyes, and her lips are as bright as spring. She is wearing a long red dress, which is stunning and gorgeous, and even more mature and beautiful. Under the illumination of street lights, the light in many places is actually relatively dim. But even so, she was still shining brightly as she walked on the avenue, even in dimly lit areas. Her appearance made countless people scream, shout, and cheer. The national beauty contest she participated in has not ended yet, but in the hearts of countless people, she is already the champion and the most beautiful girl of the new generation. Maybe many people think Adelina is more beautiful, but Adelina is the most beautiful first royal sister, and there is no conflict with the first beautiful girl. They are all so beautiful. Seeing this scene, Miki Baiha couldn't help but admire in his heart. After she suddenly came to her senses, she suddenly discovered that the three beauties who had appeared so far were all the seniors' girlfriends. These three people are the center of attention, surrounded by the spotlight, just like the protagonists, making them enviable. Having said that, she has no intention of going on stage to steal the show. Because she has long experienced the scene of being in the limelight, being praised and marveled by people. And she knew very well that she was the fifth one, unless the fourth one showed up like this, she didn't want to overstep. As time goes by, and it gets closer to the start of the performance, the protagonist of tonight's piano concert finally makes his appearance. 0 hour, 0 hour, 0 hour. People were chanting his name. In fact, because neon cosplay culture is very strong and can be seen everywhere, there were a lot of people in the cosplay show tonight. However, many people can only imitate their appearance, but cannot act their form, and it is easy to see that they are acting. First of all, Master 0 Hour's mask is specially made. Although there are many people on the internet who are specifically painting it, they cannot outline the charm of the real mask, and it looks fake at first glance. Secondly, the aura of Master 0 Hour is so strong. Every move he makes is elegant and noble, showing the style of a master. And the appearance at 0 Hour also means that tonight's performance is about to begin. Master 0 Hour changed his mask and looks more handsome. Miki Nishikawa was extremely proud and admired when she saw this scene. She had seen Master 0 Hour's first performance as a special guest live. In fact, Miki Baiha would go to the show, thanks to her MWay. As the earliest fan of 0 Hour Master, she watched helplessly as her idol went from being unknown to being questioned by the entire internet to being worshipped by the entire internet in just a few months. She felt like she was witnessing it with her own eyes. A miracle to be proud of. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Tokyo's most affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 573. Tokyo Bunkakaikan. As the entrance time came, ticket holders entered one after another. The big concert hall was already full, and some official staff stood in the corners. I finally bought the ticket this time. It is said that the live performance of Master Zero Time is more exciting than the live broadcast and recording. I hope this trip will be worthwhile. The performance is about to begin, and people are whispering to each other. Click. However, with the arrangement of the lights, the hall fell into darkness, and everyone fell silent. At 8 o'clock in the evening, a beam of light hit the stage, and Zero Time appeared without a second's delay. A gentleman's hat, a tuxedo, a white shirt, a black bow tie, and a signature mask. He took off his hat, bowed, saluted, and all the lights in the hall were lit up. I am Zero Time. I would like to thank all the audience for watching my concert. Facing the entire audience and the camera, Kurosawa Hikaru stood alone on the stage, and through the headset, he made a magnetic and low voice. As he started, the scene was still dead silent. Oh! But in the next moment, it was as if a huge rock was thrown into the lake, exploding. Instantly, the applause was like thunder, as if it was going to overturn the ceiling. For fans, the opening line of I Am 0 Hour is really familiar. So far, all the MVS uploaded by 0 Hour on YouTube have this opening line, which makes people love and hate it. What I love is that this line and opening line are like anti-counterfeiting codes. What I hate is that when it is played in a loop, there is always this sentence, which makes people unable to enjoy the music quietly. No matter what kind of feeling, just at this moment, seeing the master of 0 Hour standing in front of you and saying this opening line, people have a feeling of scalp tingling and goosebumps all over their body. Because everyone knows that after this opening line, it will definitely bring you an auditory feast. Such applause is not only in this concert hall, but also resounds in front of mobile phones and computers across the country. Enjoying the applause of the fans, Kurosawa Hikaru didn't intend to say anything nonsense. He put his hat back on his head and turned around to walk towards the piano. With his footsteps, the lights in the concert hall disappeared instantly, leaving only two spotlights. A spotlight illuminated the piano. A spotlight, thunderous applause, illuminated the way forward for 0 Hour in the dark. Under the attention of the crowd, Kurosawa Hikaru walked in front of the piano. He gently touched his chest with his hand, turned off the headset, and sat down slowly. The first piano piece he was going to play, without hesitation, was Croatian Rhapsody. This piano piece was his first work as 0 Hour. Perhaps this piano piece is not the best or the most perfect, but it is one of the most meaningful. Raise your hand, put your fingers down, and the piano sounded. It's Croatian Rhapsody. With just a few key notes, fans almost instinctively recognized this piece. This piece is too familiar. As the initial starting point, many people have been looping this song for many days and nights. For some songs, just listening to the prelude is enough to move the soul. However, as the prelude sounded and the main show began, people suddenly felt a little strange. Because many people have listened to this song hundreds of times, even with their eyes closed, they can hum the melody. But at this moment, this song seems to be endowed with a soul, and the tragic feeling comes to the face. Is this the live performance of Master 0 Hour? This audiovisual effect is much better than the MV on YouTube. Fans who came to the scene for the first time were just stunned. In their eyes, 0 Hour on the stage seemed to be the eye of the typhoon, and the swift and terrible wind of war swept across the venue. Senior's piano skills have improved again, this talent is too exaggerated. Under the stage, Mickey Bayu, who was sitting in the super VIP seat, looked at the figure on the stage in great astonishment. Figure skating is closely related to pure music. In order to perform better, she understands music, has some knowledge of various instruments, and has listened to countless classical music. Because she understood music, she felt very clearly how terrible the senior's piano skills were. What kind of realm and height was that, reaching the highest level? She had a feeling that no one in the world, or even in history, could match the senior in the field of piano. At this moment, everyone's soul and heart were pulled into the ocean of music, and countless scenes appeared before their eyes. The passionate and high-pitched melody, the bright and fast notes, awakened people's long-forgotten past. That was the failure that everyone would experience, and the rise that everyone would experience. It is no exaggeration to say that every fan who could come to the scene was either rich or noble. Because of this, they had all been frustrated, but no one was defeated, but stood up. Looking back suddenly, people remembered a lot. This song is very passionate and can inspire people's fighting spirit. Of course, because of the memory of past failures, it evoked people's regrets hidden in their hearts. I don't know how she is now. Some people remembered the girl who stayed by their side when they were poor and could not even take out 100,000 yen from their pockets and had pressure to rent a house. I should have visited my hometown more often. Some people remembered the mother who waited for them to return home but concealed her illness so that he could work hard in Tokyo. A piano piece, a piece of music, is too short. However, when the piano ended, many people in the audience burst into tears without realizing it. The emotions contained in this piano piece are too rich and even stronger. There are no lyrics, but it hits the heart directly, and outlines the words of the past in their ears. Pa 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 pa. After the song ended, there was no screaming or cheering, only continuous applause and people who were shocked and speechless. At the same time, a few lines of words appeared in front of Kurosawa Hikaru. Mission objectives. Invite Yuki Ichino's, Chizuru Ninomiya, Shiraha Miki, Murashika Ed, and Runa Igarashi to watch your peak moment at the concert at Tokyo Bunka-Kaikan on September 30th, achieved. Use the cheers of the audience to let them know that you are the only one who surpasses them all, achieved. Show the power of the perfect piano, let the world hear your voice, your name, and your deeds achieved. Perfect level exclusive challenge mission, peak moment, piano completed. Mission reward, hands of heavenly sound. System, exclusive weapon. Seeing the completion of the mission, Kurosawa Hikaru also silently said in his heart. Following his request, a golden ball of light appeared out of thin air and floated in the air. Only he could see this ball of light. Kurosawa Hikaru, wearing a mask, looked at it and saw some information and text, and his expression was stunned. Exclusive weapon, hands of heavenly sound. Wearing conditions, own a perfect level musical instrument, piano, and complete the exclusive challenge mission. Feature 1, everything is a piano. Without a piano in hand, you can't be called a pianist. The wearer can transform any non-living material into a piano, such as a stone, a grass, or a leaf. Feature 2, the voice of destiny. A true pianist, even an animal, will be impressed by you. The piano played by the wearer can awaken everyone's forgotten emotions, past and heart. Feature 3, the voice of nature. A perfect pianist who can control all emotions, styles, and repertoires. The wearer can sense all the piano music in the world, and there is no repertoire you can't play. Feature 4, magical weapon. The moment the BGM sounds, you have already lost. The hand of nature can stir people's hearts and pull people into the world of music. Feature 4 is still so outrageous. After reading the introduction of the exclusive weapon, Kurosawa Hikaru can feel its horror with a little imagination. Although this introduction seems to be very ordinary, but if you think about it carefully, it is terrifying. Having said that, there is no monster invasion in this world, and the end of the world, the super standard power of Feature 4, has no place to use. After a general understanding, he chose to wear it. The hand of heaven is actually a pair of gloves as thin as a cicada's wing. When worn on the hand, the naked eye can't even see the difference, and it is as light as the wind. If there were no entries and information, Kurosawa Hikaru might not be able to feel its existence. The performance started again, and the second piece was Liszt's bell, or more precisely, 0-hour bell. The moment the bell rang, the real sound of heaven came, and everyone seemed to have entered the world of music. People entered a state of selflessness, and even put aside all distractions. Although many people know that the protagonist tonight is 0-hour, they are also very concerned about the existence of Adeline and the blonde bride. But at this moment, everyone forgot their existence. Thank you for watching tonight's performance. Finally, Kurosawa Hikaru stood in the center of the stage, and bowed to all the audience and cameras below the stage. At this moment, everyone came back to their senses. What's going on? Is it over? I've seen this scene before. Is time going backwards? People were stunned when they realized what was happening. Oh my God, is it 10 o'clock? Is the show over? At this moment, someone subconsciously raised his wrist to look at his watch and was shocked. Really? The 2-hour show just ended like this. As soon as these words came out, 1,000 waves were stirred up, and everyone was shocked. Then, everyone subconsciously recalled what happened in the 2 hours. This memory made the concert hall fall into dead silence. It would be better if they didn't recall it, but this memory made people unable to extricate themselves and immersed in it. Croatian Rhapsody made them see the ruins filled with smoke and the tragic war. The bells made them see the magnificent halls in the ancient years with thousands of bells ringing. Flight of the Bumblebee made them see the passionate, violent, and sky-filled bumblebees. The Mark of Rain made them see a starry night and a sudden heavy rain. Anne of Wonderland let them see the real Wonderland. Adeline of the Waterside let them see the fairy of the waterside. Autumn Whispers allows them to see a courtyard full of maple leaves, whispering beautiful love. Dance of Flowers allowed them to see 100 flowers blooming and perform a dreamy dance. Dream Wedding allows them to see the wedding they desire most in their hearts. Canon Variations, what exactly I saw cannot be described in words. When I recall it, everyone is different. Because the greatest charm of canon is that you can hear plainness when you are sad, and you can hear happiness when you are happy. It seems that all kinds of pictures in the world are contained in this piece of music, making the soul happy. Perfect performance, perfect ending. Looking back on tonight's performance, people realized that they had forgotten the passage of time. This is a feast, and it is the highest enjoyment, as if the soul is sublimated by it. Off the stage and in the audience, everyone has different feelings. Brother Guang. Ichi-nose Yuki looked at the figure on the stage, unable to look away at all, with deep love. Kurosawa, you are awesome. Ninomiya Chizuru looked at Kurosawa Hikaru's figure with great pride. Senior. Miki Bio looked at that figure, as if he saw the brilliance of divinity, and worshipped him extremely. Guang, you are so handsome. Saifunji Yuan's future body and mind were sinking. Kurosawa, I love you so much. Igarashi Runa was not very involved in piano, but when she recalled the process of this performance, she felt that it was unprecedented and her eyes were extremely enthusiastic. After giving everyone the most perfect performance, Hikaru Kurosawa saluted, turned around, and walked behind the scenes. With his departure, the show is over. Everyone was sitting there, with endless aftertaste, unfinished thoughts, and even more enthusiasm. However, no one dared to stop it or ask for another song. Because the back figure was so tall, it was even more majestic and sacred, like a god. He is called the god of piano, and he is well deserved. I read the news earlier that 0-Hour Master is going to release an album. I definitely want to buy it as soon as possible. Physical album, digital album, I want to buy 1,000 sets. For next month's show, even if a ticket costs 1 million, I will buy it. This performance, I will never forget it in my life. People's thoughts and feelings are all about following in his footsteps and eager to hear the ultimate sound of nature again. As people talked and sighed, more than 10 minutes passed before the first person left. At the same time, Igarashi Runa walked out from backstage. She went straight to Shifunjayuan Mirai. After being stopped by the maid, she said a few words and found Yuki Ichino's again. Finally, she found Miki Bayu. Miss Miki. Yes, what's the matter? Miki Bayu, who was about to leave, was a little confused when he saw her stopping him. She knew who this person was, Runa Igarashi, 0 Hour's manager. Can you come with me? The 5 of us can meet and talk about something. Igarashi Runa extended the invitation. 5 people. Miki Bayu was a little surprised when he heard this invitation. 5 people. Igarashi Runa nodded. Is the 4th person actually her? Miki Bayu raised his eyes to look at her, and became aware of her appearance. Okay, please lead the way. Although Miki Bayu felt guilty, after thinking about it, he still nodded and agreed. Sooner or later, you have to face what you have to face. As an athlete, the most important spirit is to not be afraid of difficulties. The baby is full of wine and is out of the month. Tokyo's most affectionate. Author, Wodada Shuchu Wujin. Chapter 574. At the Tokyo Bunkakaikan, the audience left one after another. However, a few people were going in the opposite direction, heading towards the infield. What's happening here? Kurosawa Hikaru, who was standing behind the stage and wearing a mask, saw this scene and his heartstrings moved. All 5 of them were traveling in the opposite direction, and the direction they were going was not the conventional departure route. Although they could leave by going to the infield, the 5 of them were heading in the same direction. No matter how you thought about it, it couldn't be a coincidence that they chose the same route. I have something to do, let's go first. Upon realizing this, Kurosawa Hikaru immediately lost his composure, spoke to the people behind the scenes around him, and then turned around and walked away. The direction he goes, he can walk directly into the backfield. After a while, he opened a door and came to a wide corridor. Looking back, he saw 5 people gathering together in the distance. Ninomiya Chizuru, Ichino's Yuki, Shifunjin Mirai, Igarashi Runa, Miki Shiraba, they were walking over in groups. Perhaps they were acting together, but the atmosphere was very solemn. Everyone looked calm and said nothing. And the maid Sayakakai was also following along. How did they get together? Seeing this scene, Kurosawa Hikaru's heart suddenly sank to the bottom. Although it is his handiwork to invite everyone to watch the show tonight. But in fact, he invited 5 people to his performance last month. At that time, Bayu's existence had not yet been exposed, however, they still acted independently with a tacit understanding and had no plans to get together. He doesn't want everyone to meet, and everyone actually doesn't want to see other people unless necessary. Because love rivals come together and are irresolvable rivals, there is no benefit except quarrels and unhappiness. He saw everyone, and naturally the 5 people also saw him. After all, there is no hiding place in the huge corridor, and it can be seen at a glance. Kurosawa, who was still wearing a mask and a tuxedo, was too conspicuous standing in the front. Perhaps because of the mask, his figure looked oppressive, as if a big mountain was blocking the way. What do you want to do? The distance got closer and closer, until Kurosawa Hikari, wearing a mask, looked at them and spoke first. Of course, the atmosphere when the 5 girls met was not as tense as the last time at the Budokan, but it was still very heavy. He didn't know whose idea it was, but he thought it would be better for everyone if the 5 of them could not meet. As he spoke, the 5 girls' hearts tightened. Maybe it was because of the mask, so his expression couldn't be seen, and he didn't have the usual smile. They were all a little worried that Kurosawa Hikari might be angry. We don't quarrel or fight. We just want to have a formal talk. Ninomiya Chizuru felt like she had been caught red-handed doing something wrong, but she still remained calm and explained. As soon as these words came out, all the girls nodded in agreement. Where are you going? Kurosawa Hikaru confirmed that they did not have a life-or-death attitude and that they were getting along quite harmoniously. He felt more at ease and asked again. Meeting room. Can I come along? Kurosawa Hikaru was curious about what they wanted to talk about. He had absolutely no hope that 5 people could live in harmony and be as close as sisters. That was too unrealistic. Even the future Seifunjayuan, with its traditional thinking, has made it clear that he does not like to meet other people. For example, the small-scale relationship is good, that is, the good sisters Ninomiya Chizuru and Igarashi Runa. And he is currently striving to make Xiaoyuki and Mikibayu become good friends. No matter what, one more friend is better than one more enemy. Of course, you can't miss this occasion. This request is in line with Ninomiya Chizuru's wishes. After that, Kurosawa Hikaru also joined the team. Finally, they entered the conference room, and the door was closed by the maid. The 5 girls took turns to sit down. There was no order. They simply found an empty seat and sat down. As for Kurosawa Hikaru, since all 5 girls were present, he could only sit as far away as possible to avoid making them feel that he was partial. After everyone sat down, the air in the conference room was filled with a dull atmosphere, because there was no beginning and everyone was silent. Kurosawa, take off your mask. At this moment, Igarashi Runa could no longer hold back and demanded. Oh! Kurosawa Hikaru was stunned when he heard this, and thinking about it, he reached out and took off the mask, revealing his true face. As he took off his mask, the atmosphere in the room suddenly changed. Everyone felt their breathing become a little lighter when they saw his familiar face. Should it be said or not, a person wearing a mask will give people an inexplicable sense of oppression and distance, because it is impossible to see what he is thinking. Kurosawa, why are you sitting so far away? Ninomiya Chizuru looked at his familiar face and asked. Then where should I sit? After hearing this, Kurosawa Hikaru paused and looked at them, feeling helpless. If possible, he naturally doesn't want to keep a distance, but the problem is that he can't. Never mind. Ninomiya Chizuru looked around, wanting him to sit over, but gave up after thinking about it. Ninomiya, you specially invited everyone here. What do you want to talk about? Just then, Shifunjayuan Mirai spoke up and brought the topic to the point. Unlike the others, her time for activities outside was limited, and she could not stay for long, so she had no time to chat. It's about time. So far, Kurosawa has 5 girlfriends, that is, everyone here. As she raised the question, Ninomiya Chizuru also took over the conversation. In response, the women all nodded slightly and admitted the matter. Now that they are face to face, it is meaningless to deny or conceal. Seeing that they did not express their opinions, Ninomiya Chizuru said again. If Kurosawa accompanies one person every day, according to the average distribution, it will be his turn every 5 days, which is the ideal state. But in fact, it is impossible to achieve fair distribution. Why is it impossible? Because Kurosawa has work, studies, and family affairs. For example, he will start school in 2 days. From Monday to Friday, he has to go to school regularly, and he has only half a day of free time. Originally, it may not be impossible for 5 people to distribute time fairly. For example, on the 5 working days, 1 day for each person is just right. However, Kurosawa has to give tutoring lessons to Shifunjayuan on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, and he has to go to the dojo to find her on Sundays. Ninomiya Chizuru saw her strong attitude and did not give in. It's better to say it directly. What do you want? Shifunjayuan Mirai understood what she meant and said bluntly. After saying so much, you still say that the dagger is revealed. This is a hangman banquet. Ninomiya Chizuru gathered 5 people together. The fundamental purpose is probably to divide her time. Simply using mathematics to calculate, it would be fair for each of the 5 people to take turns for 1 day, but in fact, she took at least 2 days out of 7 days. I have to admit that she did take advantage to a certain extent. Don't be angry, the purpose of bringing this up is not to blame you. Ninomiya Chizuru saw that she was dissatisfied, and calmly comforted her. Shifunjayuan seemed to take 2 days a week, which was a big advantage and took advantage. But in fact, she and Runa joined forces, taking 4 days out of 10 days, and 30 days a month, which could take 12 days. The advantage was her, and there was no need to covet the time that Shifunjayuan Mirai took. Hee. Shifunjayuan Mirai didn't believe the statement at all, but just sneered. This knife was already exposed, and he said it was not targeted. There is only one Kurosawa, and it is impossible to distribute the time evenly. The more people we have, the longer the interval between the turns. But fortunately, he promised me that there will not be a 6th one. I don't know if they have told you. Ninomiya Chizuru didn't care whether she believed it or not, just looked at the others and asked. No, but the senior has expressed similar meanings. Mikibayu nodded under her gaze. In fact, the senior did not make such a promise to her. However, she indirectly understood this meaning, because before the senior accepted her, he actually did not want to find a 5th person. Yes. Ichinosuke nodded and confirmed this matter. Igarashi Runa just nodded and did not speak. Seeing everyone's statements, Shifunjayuan Mirai narrowed his eyes, as if he had realized something, and vaguely felt Ninomiya's attitude and purpose. About this promise, Kurosawa did not tell her, probably because her attitude has always been that it doesn't matter how many you find. Although she has this attitude, too many people are indeed not a good thing. If the number of people is not controlled, the problem of time allocation will only become more and more serious. Ninomiya Chizuru probably wants to attract everyone's attention by spreading this matter. Letting Agwang participate in this conversation is to make him, the initiator, realize the problem of time allocation. There is not enough time to divide, so don't find a 6th person. Gathering everyone is to tell everyone that you should also be careful and not let him mess around everywhere, otherwise it will be difficult to meet him once. If nothing unexpected happens, our team will be finalized. Even if we don't meet regularly in the future, we will inevitably have each other's shadow in our lives, so I decided to call everyone to meet and get to know each other. Regardless of whether they have heard it or not, conveying this promise to everyone, Ninomiya Chizuru's mouth corners slightly raised, with a friendly attitude. What do you mean by accident? Shifunjayuan Mirai guessed her purpose and continued. The accident is that Kurosawa found the 6th person, or someone broke up with Kurosawa, and our team will change. Ninomiya Chizuru saw that she had figured out the situation, looked at her more, and answered. Hearing this, everyone looked at Kurosawa Hikaru with a tacit understanding. They all knew from the bottom of their hearts that it was impossible for them to break up with Kurosawa Hikaru. If they wanted to break up, they would have broken up long ago, why wait until now and in the future? In other words, there is only one possibility for the team currently sitting at the table to have any personnel changes, that is, Kurosawa Hikaru will find a 6th one. Don't worry, there will be no such accident. Being stared at by 5 pairs of eyes, Kurosawa Hikaru suddenly felt that they had eliminated the barriers at this moment and united as a team. His heart tightened, and he patted his chest to make a promise. Just kidding, 5 girlfriends have already made him exhausted and exhausted, how can he have the energy to find a 6th one? End of this book.